Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You look great for first thing in the morning.
Oh, thanks. It's all downhill from here.
Fantastic movie.
Thanks.
Like, I cried. I laughed. I mean, it was just, the emotions are there.
Oh, I'm so glad.
So, Tim, what did you know about this story when you were first approached about it?
I actually didn't know anything about it. I read the script, and I really responded to the character, and it was what I was really looking for at the time. And then I read the article. And I was like, wow, what an interesting story. And like, what a perfect, I mean, not even metaphor, because it really happened, but for what was happening with our country and the financial collapse, and like also the way that like media and culture told people like what their value was in terms of gender. I just thought it was like kind of exactly what I wanted to do at that time.
And it's not, I think some people may think like, oh, it's going to be a fun stripper movie. Or
It's fun.
Look, they rob people and boom. But I see it as this, you know, this really strong drama with themes about gender.
Yeah.
Also chosen families.
Yeah.
I really, really got that throughout the movie. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think the heart of the movie is the girls and the sisterhood of the girls and the friendship between Ramona and my character Destiny. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, this is a stripper movie. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No.
It's a movie about people who have been strippers before.
Right.
And I make that distinction because it's about more than just their occupation. Like, so often we stop our judgment there and then make so many assumptions. But all these women are different. And when you look at Destiny's story and the fact that she was abandoned by her own mother when she was a kid, she's sort of been looking for a female mentor and like friend like that her whole life. And she finds that in Jennifer's character, Ramona. And a lot of these girls, they're kind of outcast from their families. And so they kind of create their own family.
That's survival too.
Yeah, and they're also, there's a freedom when you know the rest of the world judges you, and then you find people who don't judge you, but they understand you. That's a type of family, and that's sort of what these girls create.
Tell me, what do you like about Destiny?
I like that she makes decisions from her heart, which isn't always the smartest place, because yes, she gets involved with these schemes and this like thing that is objectively bad. It's illegal. Like drugging people's not good,
No, not
right?
good. We
Stealing
all
and
agree with that.
We agree with that. It's not good. But I think what's unique about her is she's not really doing it for the money necessarily, even though she does need it to support her kid and everything. I think she just gets caught up in the feeling of being a part of something and having this sisterhood. And you see that when, towards the end, she starts to sort of realize like, oh, I was just thinking about how wonderful I felt being a part of this family, but oh, I just realized that what I'm doing is affecting other families when she talks to the guy, Doug. And so it kind of is tough for Destiny that it took her a while to catch up to her mistakes, but I like that she does catch up to them and that she makes tough decisions because of them. And so even though she gets involved, it's in trouble. It's all out of her desire for love and for other people's love.
I get a Scorsese vibe from the movie.
Like Goodfellas?
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
You know, then, you know, even, you know, Francis Ford Coppola, The Godfather. Like, Ramona is The Godfather.
Totally. When I first read it, I was like, this is a lot like Goodfellas, because those guys are doing things that are objectively bad, but for some reason you kind of like them.
It's the family.
Because and they have all these characters, but I will say there's one big difference, which is, I think one of the first lines of Goodfellas is, all my life I wanted to be a gangster. And then the last line of Goodfellas is essentially like, I'm not a gangster anymore and life is boring. So in that sense, I think that movie glamorizes the gang life.
Right.
And while I think Hustlers has moments of glamour, like the Usher scene and everything, what Lorene did was a little more complex than that. I don't think she glamorized the life. I think she showed some of the really fun parts and some of the really like difficult parts. And you know, it doesn't end with oh, I'm not a stripper anymore and my life is so boring, the way Goodfellas ends. It ends with, well, I don't want to give any spoilers, but...
Okay, so we've talked about this before. You had a stripper pole in your house?
Yes.
Prepping, like, did you wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee and say, hey, I think over her's on the pole?
Yeah, no, I just slept next to it. I didn't do any actual work. I was like osmosis. I'm by the pole. Well, I mean, because the biggest thing about that is, yes, it's physically demanding, but you also have to sell it.
Yeah.
And that's really hard when mentally...
I can swing around a pole, but I can't sell it.
And so it's the comfort level. And it's also doing it when you're in these like 9-inch shoes. So it's like, I was also walking around my house in those shoes just to be like, let me just like see if I could get used to this.
Did you ever?
Not the 9-inch. They were like 7-inch ones. That you know what? I managed to be pretty good in. And yeah, new skill set that I learned. I never thought I would.
It's on your resume now.
Yes.
Microsoft Word, fluent in Spanish, 7-inch heels.
7-inch heels. 7 or less. No, I can't go above. That's it's like my singer's range. It's like she could belt to an E flat. Like that's where she goes.
What was it like seeing Jennifer Lopez work that pole?
Oh my God.
Literally, your mouth is on the floor.
I didn't want her to stop. Like, whenever the song ended, and, she had to do it a few times, obviously, for different takes. Like, I just didn't want it to stop because she just owns the stage. And, like, and I also, like, as a person, I just love her. And just to see somebody who you care about so much who's just doing what they do best and just, like, it's like you're witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime live thing, except for I got to see it a few times because of the...
But then I love when she's teaching you how to do it. I don't know if it's technically classical music, but it was like classical music that was playing, which I just love that sequence where it was like, she was really showing you this art.
Yeah.
That you really had to be an artist to do this. This wasn't just jumping on a stage and jiggling.
And again, that whole thing about not glamorizing it. Yes, we have scenes where we're in the fancy stripper outfits, but in that scene where Jen's teaching me, we're both in sports bras and like no makeup with like ponytails. Because it's like Lorene always said like these women are kind of like athletes. And if you think of it in a certain way, they're both using their bodies to make money, athletes and strippers.
For sure.
And for entertainment and to make money, both of those professions. It's just we decide to judge and shame one of them more than the other.
And Cardi B, you went on top of Cardi B and tried to give her
Oh man, so in that scene, Destiny's supposed to be like embarrassed that she can't do it that well. I think the line with Destiny and Constance was like right in sync there because I was embarrassed because I was like, this girl knows what she's doing. And I've, been learning, but I'm definitely still a freshman.
So let's talk a little bit about your TV career. How many more seasons of Fresh Off the Boat?
Well, they have me for 7. I'm in season 6 right now, and I love it. I know people misunderstood my tweet thing where they thought that it meant that I didn't love the show. I love the show. I love the people on the show. We've had the same crew for 6 years. We wouldn't have had that. Like, people could go find other shows if we all didn't love each other. But, it does take up a significant amount of my year, and so there was just this play that I was really looking forward to doing.
A play?
Yeah, I grew up in the theater, so that's home for me, you know what I mean? And a lot of people had told me, oh yeah, it's not going to get picked up.
Well, I wanted to bring this up with you because I did a podcast with Randall Park, and he said it to me too. He said, we were all surprised it got picked up.
Yeah, like me and Randall had talked about it. He's just not as like reactive to it. But like this play I wanted to do, my heart was so in it. And so for just like a moment of heat, which we all have, like I got upset that I couldn't do the play. But I mean, if you look at any of my tweets for the past 6 years about Fresh Off the Boat, I love it, and I love those kids, and I love the crew, and it's just a really peaceful, happy job that I'm really lucky to have.
And then one question that I always ask everyone, what's the one movie you could watch over and over again and you never get bored?
Well, my number one, it's always been Boogie Nights.
Really?
Well, yes.
Really, star of Hustlers.
I know. No, but there's another one that's new that I'm adding to the list, which is Paddington 2. I haven't even seen Paddington 1.
First of all, tell me why Boogie Nights.
Okay, Boogie Nights is amazing. I mean, just the energy of it, that wonder at the beginning, the way they're humanizing people who are often judged,
right.
you know, in society. And and the music, everything about that movie is great. The era, the 70s to the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, our movie's about an era change too.
Oh, yeah.
But Paddington 2 is just, it's so pure. And like, the joy in it is so, like sometimes I think these movies can try to really lean into that cutesiness, and they almost like exploit sentimentality, and it works. But it's like, there's something about Paddington 2 where the cuteness doesn't come from like a self-awareness or a manipulative sense. It really just comes from the heart of this bear.
How many times have you seen it?
Oh, you know, it's on loop. I keep it on my TV so my bunny can watch it when I'm not home. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, you practice the pole watching which is really interesting.
Talk about the full spectrum of like the human experience and the bear experience. Yeah.
What is the one movie that you would love to have been in besides Paddington 2?
Oh gosh, I don't know why that's like hard. You know what I really love? I love like that old Richard Linklater movie, Before Sunrise.
Why is that?
Because I mean, some people think this is boring, but it's two people talking. And like...
There's nothing, that's what we're doing, I'm not bored.
I know, but like, and discovering things about each other, and it doesn't feel forced, it just feels like a true portrayal of that time in your life, and it's... I don't know, there's something about the way that was captured that... I just think it's important that we have stories like that, almost as like to be historians of like what humans are capable of connection-wise.
Which is just what Hustlers is about too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It doesn't look like it from this glossy thing, but it's about these girls, and I really hope that people watch it. And what I hope most, besides them having a good time, is that people care about these girls as people because they're great girls.
And that's where it gets a little twisted, because there's times where I'm like, I'm rooting for you. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be rooting for you in this
But you know,
part.
Everybody makes mistakes and does things that they're not proud of, at least sometimes in their life. But they're also people.
Awesome. Constance, thank you so much. It's
Thank
always
you.
so much fun.